For invocation, folks, I would please like you to bow your head in a moment of silence. We have lost a number of people inside this town limits and outside this town limits in the last few weeks. So, a moment of silence. Thank you. Madam Pro Tem.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 3, agenda adoption, additions, deletions, or corrections. New comes shall one have a motion to adopt.
I make a motion.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, likewise, motion carries. Consent agenda.
Just those additional minutes that put in there.
I like it. On paper. I'm taking it home reading. Put me to sleep.
See what you see.
See what it was.
Okay. Chair will entertain a motion to adopt the consent agenda.
I make a motion.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, likewise, motion carries. Item 6, financial statements for the year ended 30 June 2023.
Well, I've got some good news to share with the council. Susan and I have been in touch with the auditors. The audit report is now finished. He couldn't make tonight's meeting. He could have had the statements before you, but I feel the audit should be present. So we're going to have the audit presentation at the May 31st budget work session. So it'll be a special meeting. We'll do the audit presentation as well as the FY25 budget. Also before you is a contract amendment for the current year audit. Ending June 30, 23 is an extension of time. So we need your approval on that. Keep that LGC.
Chair will entertain a motion to adopt as presented by the manager.
I make a motion.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, likewise, motion carries to approve the audit contract amendment. And we're going to set that date for the presentation officially as 31 May in our meeting.
It'll be held at the Depot Community Room. Starting at 9 a.m.
Sure.
I got That's all right.
Okay, Chair will entertain a motion to adopt.
I make them.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, likewise, motion carries. Item 7.
Item 7 deals with the paving. We've been accumulating funds the last couple of years. We normally get around $68,000 each year for paving. And some of the roads we can't pave because of required water and sewer work and so forth. But Ray McCool and I met and looked at the roads that we felt needed to be done now. One area for paving is out by IGA. You know, we had that road was dug up. So we're going to spend about $4,000 out of the water and sewer plant going to areas that have been cut by our utility crews, but patched to get them done better. We're also going to pave Carolina Drive from, Redbird up to One Place. Right. Will be new paving. And then Redbird Street itself, the road itself looks okay. When you get to the very top of the street, the last 3 homes, it's like potholes everywhere. So we're going to pave that portion and take advantage of the contractor out there. Also, Laurel Way has reached the point where it's getting down to the base. So we're going to pave the entire Laurel Way. And so the total cost is $154,600. Belleville will pay for $130,000. The street department budget would be $20,600. And like I said earlier, the water department paid for $4,000. And the good news is we've asked Darryl Price to get the work done between now and June 30th, and he gave us a tentative date of week of June 10th, and I get all the paving done. So that's out before you, and we'd like to move forward with this project.
Any questions on the contract? Chair will entertain a motion to
I make a motion.
all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, likewise, motion carries. Item 8, 24 budget.
Okay, this is our sixth budget amendment for the fiscal year. The first one is the PAL bill. We've got more income this year. We got $76,120. I budgeted 68. So I want to increase that revenue by 8,129 and appropriate about $9,500 fund balance. And not get enough money to cover the pay we just awarded. In the water meter fund, we're replacing several transmitters and meters throughout the year. I did share with you that years ago when I was here, we established a water meter fund. And I guess good news, bad news. The good news is the money's been set aside in this fund all these years, earning interest. But we're putting the money to good use now and replacing the system that needs to be done. So I'd like to appropriate another $21,000 out of the fund to continue to replace water meters, transmitters between now and June 30th. The third item is the tourism board met, and the occupancy taxes, I don't think are going to make the budget level. So all we're going to do is we're going to lower the occupancy tax revenue by $2,500, increase fund balance appropriation by $2,500. The total increase the budget to zero. So those are the three items I'm asking for approval for budget amendment number 6.
Discussion. Chair will entertain a motion to adopt budget amendment 6 as proposed.
I make a motion.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Those likewise. motion
Mayor, I just want
carries.
to make a comment. The budget should be, the finance committee should be getting later this month. There's no violations with the budget. I think the key thing is Susan and I have been tracking the costs. If we have to go to the council to get a budget amendment, we have. So the audit report will reflect that every fund of the town, funds are budgeted. We didn't go over any of those. But that's the key thing that, and one of the things she asked me that when I do step down again for retirement, I'll agree to stay on to make sure that whoever you hire for new managers will allow to look at financials, prepare budget amendments, so you don't get back into trouble with the local government commission and so forth. But I think you'll see that report that they're very pleased to see that everything was done correctly this year.
Excellent. Thank you. Item 9, proposed 25 town budget.
Okay. Each year in the month of May, managers are required to make a presentation on the budget to the town board. I did present the council or the audience with my transmittal letters, so if they can't hear me, they can look and see what I'm talking about. But the manager is required to present the budget on and before June 1st. We will be having a budget work session, like we said earlier, on Friday, May 31st, where you've got 10 days to look at the budget, go through any additional questions, and look at the same format we did last year where we had all the department heads and division supervisors around the table. So if any questions you may have, even non-financial, you talk to the street supervisor and so forth about priorities like to see in the budget. But basically, employee retention and recruitment has been a challenge for municipalities throughout our country. And we're no exception, as you know, that I came before you last month on the police department. We're down 2 officers. But rather than see any additional shrinkage, we increased the police officer salaries 10% to be competitive. Because we're the Columbus, the county, of course, we're paying more at the time. We're now equal with Columbus. We do have the 2 vacant positions. One of the positions we have an town employee going through a basic law enforcement program, and graduation will be around the end of June. And then we're still recruiting for the remaining 7th officer. And also in the budget, we're including a cost living adjustment of 2.5%. I did contact the county manager. He's including 2.5% in the county budget. I think Columbus is including 3% in their budget. So we're very similar with what they're doing. One of the challenges we had this past year, equipment in this town is very old. Much of the equipment was purchased when I was here the first time. And we went out last year to buy a dump truck and a new lawnmower with a sidearm attachment. And we can't get the equipment even delivered. So what I've asked the division supervisors and the public works director to be prepared to discuss with you on your work session is looking at maybe going out and buying used equipment instead, rather than waiting and waiting. As you know, the 3 police cars that you approved 3 years ago, they're almost there. And I guess by June 30th, we'll have the 3 cars on the street. They're close. It's taking that long to get things going. But equipment, as you know, when you have bad equipment, it does affect morale of the employees when things are breaking down. We spend a lot of money to stop sports for maintaining equipment. And it's embarrassing in some respects. We'd like to talk to you about a different strategy. Also, too, last year, the big effort was for the town to be proactive on maintenance. I think we continued that this last year. We still want to make sure that we don't let facilities fall behind. I think Rogers Park, Woodland Park, Bryant Park, Harmon Field in particular, have all shown we want to continue that. And then one of the things, though, I'm waiting for a number of projects to come from committees to share with the town board. So I did not include them in the budget, but we are prepared to make an appropriation fund balance to you to pay for them. One is the public restrooms for downtown. I think that'll happen this year. We've got money to pay for it. We're just waiting for the location and cost, and that'll be an item coming for you this year. Also, we're waiting for a report back from our engineer on the public works garage. We're looking at a metal pipe building to put down the sewer tank with the cost for that. We're still waiting for a standard street light replacement for downtown. And then one of the areas on the Powell bill this year, I like to make sidewalks a priority throughout the town. You get caught up, so we're looking at getting sidewalks. One of the first ones we're looking at is getting a sidewalk done over Markham, and then getting a small contractor to work with staff. We do demolition, have the contractor come in and lay the forms and do that. But I think that's where I think the focus is working on sidewalks throughout the town. Water and sewer, you approved a number of project ordinances. So project ordinance is not really part of the budget. You've already approved that because it goes over multi-year. So Braywick, Hidden Hill, Oak Street, Markham, Grady, and Drury Road, and that one gets going further, are all going to be funded out of a project ordinance. So you already set those budgets in motion. And then Lake Lanier, we got a grant application we're working on for the Lake Lanier Dam Rehab project. But the overall budget this year, all the funds, we've got general fund, police pension trust, culture and recreation, Powell water and sewer, the water meter fund, sanitation, Harmon Field, and fire department tourism. They all add up to be like 6.6 million for all the budgets combined. The tax rate, I'm recommending that we'll discuss a recommendation of a 2.5 cent general fund tax rate increase, primarily to cover the cost of increases in payroll. And one of the things, and look at the assessed valuation for the town, if we had no tax rate, the total assessed valuation would generate maybe $8,000 in additional revenue. Growing, you don't have the assessed valuation to help with the growth and so forth. But there is a lot of activity in the downtown area. We are working with developers to look at Adams Mills. That'd be a good project too. But infill housing development, stuff like that. But we need to look at opportunities for economic growth. I think that should be a priority this next year. Then also too, as far as taking all the budgets, looking at the total 6.6, 83% of this budget is paying for pulling out. 13% is going to loan proceeds. That's primarily the Triumph Fire Department. They're replacing an engine that's already been ordered by the council a year and a half ago. We expect delivery on that in late August, early September. Appropriation fund balance is $196,100, about 3% of the budget. And then interfund transfer is only 33,000, and that's 1% of the total budget. On the expense side, 81% is going to the operating expenditures. Debt is 4%. And then one thing about the debt, Jake Johnson has been successful in getting the interconnect loan paid off between Saluda, Klein, and Columbus. So I did not budget any debt for that. If for some reason it doesn't go through, then I'll bring it back. But we made the May 1st debt payment. The next payment is November 1st. And what Jake Johnson wants to do is, in this short session, he's trying to get some cleanup language to make sure the money can be dispersed from Raleigh. And then capital equipment, $949,500, so that's primarily fire department. The one fund that was created years ago, I created a police pension trust fund to put so much money away to pay for police officers when they retire. Because when they retire, if they're under 65 years old, they can get an additional pension in addition to the state retirement. But they're not eligible for Social Security yet, so I think it was age 62. Anyway, we didn't use that fund all these years. And so, with the revenue coming in greater than expenses this year, Susan and I don't see a need to take money out of the pension. We'll leave it in there for this year. And then we'll transfer 28,000 out to pay for the 2 police officers that are retired. But the audit report for this year just ended June 30, 23. We budgeted over 240,000 appropriation fund balance last year. And we took in revenue greater than 70,000. So we didn't have to use any of the fund balance. So I think why tap into the police pension fund, let it stay there for another year. The Culture and Recreation Fund is a budget of $19,500. That funds Rogers Park and Woodland Park. And so this year I'm recommending that we appropriate money for those 2 parks. And we have Furious Garden will be a priority this year. And then we have some improvements at Rogers Park. And then I like to work with Peter Eisenbrown. He's agreed to go with me. We're going to try to get some money from the Polk County Community Foundation for some capital improvements for Rogers Park. The Belleville, again, we received $76,000 this past year. I think we'll get about the same this next year. And I think we want to come back and prioritize sidewalks, like I said earlier. The Enterprise Fund, the council approved the capital improvement program back in March of 2020, and they called for a 5% rate increase for the next 15 years. So there's a 5% rate increase that we've done like we've done the last 3 years to go toward that. The Water Meter Fund brings in about $46,000 a year. We're getting $4,000 investment earnings, total $50,000. So that fund will be there to continue to help out the replacement of meters. I spoke to the county manager last week, and we discussed it yesterday with the county commissioners. They're increasing the tipping fees at the landfill from $60 to $75. That's a 25% increase. So I don't recommend increasing our rates for our homeowners by 25%. My recommendation is increase the residential rates from the current $24 per month to $1 to $25. So it'll be a $1 increase there. But he said they got hit with that cost recently, but I just found out about it. Harmon Field Special Revenue Fund, we're recommending a 1-cent tax increase. And Brad Gordon and I went to the county commissioner meeting yesterday afternoon. They have this first on the agenda. It's the first time I could remember ever being invited to the county board. But Mark Pitt called me up yesterday morning at 9 a.m. and asked if I could come at 1 o'clock. So I went there and we're first on the agenda, and they had a good discussion. All 3 of the commissioners that were present, 2 were on Zoom calls. We're very impressed with all the work that's been done out there. Maintaining restrooms, top notch. But I think we'll get the 1-cent tax increase. They want to do 1 cent this year and maybe 1 cent next year. But the plan for Harmon Field, I'm trying to convince them on is The township tax pays currently 67% of the operating cost of that budget. The other 1/3 is covered by fees, cabin rental, food concession, and so forth. So if you didn't have the fees income, you wouldn't have to like pay for the salaries out there. So my thought is, if they get penny increase this year and penny increase next year, the township tax will pay for the O&M. Heavy maintenance like the deck in the back of the cabin is starting to fall, the boards are breaking, and the large screen in porch has got some timbers that need to be replaced. There's a lot of major maintenance. So my thought is the fees we collect can pay for that. And we'd be aggressive to go up to grants and work with the county commission to find on board additional money for capital for improvements. So I'm trying to just get Harmon Field in a clear path for financial strength. So it can always be maintained, which should be. It should not have to go into decay like it did the last several years. The fire department was also discussed by the county commission yesterday. They had the fire rescue advisory board. They went through all the budgets, and so they're recommending that to approve 1 cent increase for the fire board this year, 1 cent next year. The fire chief and I have been in discussion with a number of banks, and so even though we take delivery of the truck in late August, early September, the loan financing won't kick into next year's budget. And we've got a fairly good rate. It's 4.7, which is, I don't know if you and I go to credit unions, it's like 7.75 right now, but if we had done this a couple years ago, interest rates were like half that. But that's going to be the major expense for the fire department budget. And then the final budget is the tourism budget. Their revenue's been down. They adopted a linear budget of $20,000 for next year, primarily focusing on this website design. But as you know, the Pine Crest that comes back, that's where the revenue's been off. But they still have a healthy fund balance around 60,000 or so. But there is discussion, as you know, with the county and Salute and Tryon to merge the 3 tourism boards in one year. We should have more information on that later this year. But in closing, we did have our first budget work session on March 22nd. And we spent our time talking about all the water and sewer projects. And you got an opportunity to meet all our engineers. And so the second budget work session will be Friday, May 31st at 9 a.m. at the BOC Meeting. So that concludes my presentation. You're strictly to present the budget. There'll be ample time for you to ask questions and make any changes to the budget if you so desire. But we have a third budget work session if necessary. The last year, I think we did it in just one. Here we focused on the water and sewer in March early on. And I'm appreciate all the feedback we got since we had that meeting. We had awarded 4 projects, you know, for the sewer projects. Getting us underway.
Okay. Questions?
No, good job, thank you.
Okay. Item 10, board vacancies.
We have vacancies on Harmon Board of Supervisors, the tourism board, and the ABC board. Anybody would like to volunteer?
Well, you, and you.
Do you have any applicants for any of these? Okay.
Our thoughts were that give the community ample time to get their applications in and the board can consider them in June, because I think these terms of office expire to June 30th. And we normally don't have meetings in July, so hopefully we'll get a number of applications that you can review and make appointments next month.
Okay. Thank you. Item 11, PDDA.
I will actually, our first ask is closure of Depot Street for the Beer Fest. It's been set for November 2nd. We're asking for closure, starting at Hackett at 8 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Okay, question, does this have to be done a separate meeting?
I mean,
Can we do both street closures at one time?
oh, absolutely, yeah.
No, I have to ask the attorney.
That's fine.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay. Shall we entertain a motion to adopt the closure as presented by the TDDA director?
I'll make a motion.
All in favor, aye? Aye. All opposed likewise, motion carries. Continue, Mayor.
Thank you. Our second closure request is from McGowan Street on September 21st. We're asking for closure from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. It'll impede or it'll alleviate any, we don't want to do any closures anywhere else. That's sort of a good place for it. We want to have a barbecue brawl, very similar to the chili cook-off setup. We've spoken to Katie Lees from Sea Shack, and she's excited about it. And the hope is to have smokers, so they fill town with the smell of barbecue, and people will just get sample sizes, and it's gonna be the same setup as chili cook-off. There's gonna be no selling, and it's literally little sample sizes. They'll be able to taste it, and then they can vote for the best barbecue maker. And there'll be different categories. There'll be chicken, pork, beef, and then another.
Roadkill.
Thank you.
So we need a strict closure for that.
We did both of them on first vote.
Oh, you did?
Yes, you're correct, we have-
Well, they are, okay. And then, just for no fourth Friday in June, it's gonna be a global food fest. We haven't opened it up yet. Tim is currently working on, putting it out with instructions and a Google sign up so that individuals can sign up. And if they'd like to cook, you know, a dish from Mexico or a dish from Portugal, so what we're hoping is that a lot of our restaurants on Trade Street will participate and set up shop outside their shops for 4th Friday. And then Pat Jam will be on the plaza May 4th Friday and June 4th Friday as well.
Excellent.
Okay?
Thank you. Item 12, minimum housing. Ken?
A big update, the Shepherd Street, property, it went back up for auction because the original bidders did not, go for it, but we're not waiting on that one. So I posted the notice to the newspaper. I don't know if it's run yet. We're gonna move forward on that one. And then Peak Street, the current owner went on, he got married and went on a honeymoon. He is back now, and he told me his wife will get that paperwork to me by the end of the week. We'll be moving on that. Again, we're trying to get them both to burn at the same time for the fire department instruction, like education. But if it gets too long, and it kind of has been kind of long, we'll move on forward with what we need to do. That's all I got.
13, town manager.
I don't really have anything to add. We have some questions. We've been busy getting the budget prepared, and I just want to thank the finance staff and the department, the division superintendent put their budget together. It's an opportunity for the organization to really come together and look at their plan and look forward to meeting with the council.
Thank you. Council member report, we start with Chris, Bill, Terrell, and me. Orders, Chris, Bill, Terrell, and me.
I want to thank the staff. Hey, I love having the audience. Appreciate the citizens for coming out and staying. I want to thank the staff. I was out at Harmon Field the other day for lunch. It really looks nice. And that's outside of the lines up there by Morris on the road. Really, we talked about it earlier. Need some paint on the road, man. That's it.
I too want to thank you all for coming out tonight. Nice to see everybody, nice to see the room full. I too want to thank the staff and thank you for the wonderful report. I'm sure they won't have any questions, they'll ask me later. But you all take care of yourself and each other and everything's gonna be okay. That's all I have.
Okay. As some of you know, I lost my wife 3 weeks ago yesterday. The town is gonna be invited on June the 2nd at the cabin right down beside IGA, Sunnydale, from 2 to 5. We'll celebrate. We're gonna have beer, wine, drinks. Just come and celebrate. You're all invited. Okay? And thank you for coming. Okay, next, if you'd like to ask, comment, speak, or whatever, please raise your hand. I'll identify you, give your name so that the reporter can get it. Yes, sir.
Alan Cassavant. Jim, when you're talking about the sidewalks, it's probably not a bad idea to try to coordinate with Duke Energy in maybe various conduit lines first. So like on Packwood Street, if they had done that before, they did that, cost very little money to put conduits in there. So someday when Duke Energy or the town decides to bury the lines, all those sidewalks don't need to be torn up.
Sure.
Because like Packwood Street, all that would have to be all torn up, and it costs such little money to do that. And then also, I think a lot of the homeowners and building owners don't know about galvanized lines where the water comes through. We've had to replace galvanized line after galvanized line, and so wherever those sidewalks are, I would probably talk to those homeowners, and also, of course, with Greg, make sure underneath the sidewalk, all that galvanized lines are taken up, so it doesn't have to be torn back up. Because again, Packwood Street, cutting sidewalks, because none of that was done. And I think people just don't know better, you know? So, but the town can inform those people, so it's a lot cheaper to do it at that point than after that.
Okay, thanks, sir.
And I have a couple of questions. First would be, when the town/TDDA plans events for the town, do you look at the community calendar that Carol Browning puts out monthly that goes for years in advance? I know this has come up because I was contacted about it with the barbecue fest being on McCowan Street. It's also the same day as the Walk for Remembrance at Herman Field. And I do think that there are people that would like to be at both, and it may not be, they may not be able to do that. I would just request that you look at that community calendar, because that walk has been planned for that date since November of last year. The second thing I'm going to ask is about the status of the Whitney Avenue sidewalk.
I'll give you the answer. The frustration I've had is we try to find a contractor and then they come out and they don't show up. So Greg, you found another contractor?
Yeah, I got two people, they're living.
So we've got that sidewalk along Markham, we're looking at to get done. Sidewalk over here on the corner, I have to get redone as you come into town. So that's why I think that the money's there for sidewalk repairs and replacement. The goal is to get a good contractor, work with our street staff. So we did the demolition and hauling away and get it done, but that's been a delay.
I know part of the whole was the resident at 100 Whitney who was going to redo the rock wall in front of their property, and that will be complete by Friday this week. So.
But if we get a good team going, and I'm looking forward to this, because I think we've waited too long for sidewalks.
My other question is about your priorities on repaving roads. Is there a reason why the bottom of Newmarket was never considered with 3-4 potholes right there as you turn on Newmarket?
I guess that Greg's street crew is going out to work on potholes.
Well, 3 of those potholes have been filled at least 4 times in the last 2 years, so you might want to.
Well, I guess the problem with towns in North Carolina, roads are either state roads or town roads or private roads.
Right.
And so the PAL bill money is based on your population and mileage. And so we get about $70,000 a year. And like I said, we're going to spend $154,000 on doing a few roads now. It's not enough money to go around.
It's just dangerous with those parking places there, because when it rains, they fill with water and it's like a lake, and if you drive through one of those, you're gonna tear your car up. I mean, those of us who drive it every day know they're there, but
Also, too, one of the things that I've been successful with working with towns, if we tear up a road for water and sewer projects,
Right.
the water and sewer fund will pay for that pavement. Then the Powell bill money is, the precious money goes to the roads that don't have the tear ups.
one more thing, and I just want to thank Brad and the town in Herman Field, for always being amenable to whatever the Board of Elections may need out there on election day, because I look at the polls all the time. And Brad was always there to help us when we needed anything, and the cabin looks great.
Okay. Speaking of Harmon Field, one of the things we did this year, since the town board and the county came in and put in $68,650 each to pave the road, the Harmon Field Road west and east entrance meet the Powell bill standard. So we amended our Powell bill map to include Harmon Field. So they're now town roads, so they'll be eligible for Powell bill money for future paving. It also gives us more mileage to add to the list calculation.
Yes, ma'am.
Joyce Jimkin. I would like to know if the town has anyone certified to spray weed killer.
We have to, Brad and Philip.
Okay. Because I was told by several different landscape people that the only way that ditch on Second Street is gonna be brought back to life is if they go in and kill everything in that ditch, clean it out with rakes and shovels or whatever, and then as it grows back, put it on a regular mowing system. The guy mows Carson Street, he crosses a railroad track and he mows around that sign. He does not even look at the ditch on the opposite side of the road, and it has not been done forever. Brad did come out, not Brad, Greg came out and dug out the culvert at the corner of Whitney and Second Street, just in case we got a big rain. The problem in this county is one day we're gonna get what Texas has been getting. And we're gonna be in deep trouble because all the culverts I've looked at on Godshaw Hill are plugged up and nobody's making any effort to clean them out. The ones at the corner of Whitney and Second Street, the ones that go under the road at the railroad tracks, the ones that come off Second Street, they're all in terrible shape. Last year, it backed up so bad, we have a swamp along the railroad track. We don't need it for snakes, we don't need it for mosquitoes, it needs to all be cleaned up. Thank you.
There you go, Mr. Chair, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. All in favor, aye? All in favor, aye? We're adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.